Benchmark, the voice of business. Presented by LMD.
On Benchmark this week, in sharp focus, the possibility of subsidizing the exorbitant cost of food becomes a talking point. And the voice of business reveals that it is yearning for a return of the bears to the boss. Plus, in the spotlight, an entrepreneur shares his perspective of city tourism and what we must do to have travelers sing Old Colombo. All this and more on Benchmark, the voice of business. Welcome to Benchmark. On the program this week, we begin with a talking point, the ever-increasing cost of living. And given what the people say, we are compelled to ask, are more subsidies needed to cushion the poor? Because it seems that rising food prices have struck a body blow to many Sri Lankans, struggling as they are to make ends meet. The exorbitant cost of food generally has a telling effect on the average citizen's budget, from Nivithigala to New York. And in Sri Lanka, the looming threat of a regional, if not global food crisis has put consumers on the warpath with the powers that be. As the general populace struggles to cope with hikes in the cost of transport, LP gas and electricity among other essentials, a corresponding spike in food prices may be the last straw for many. The grim reality is that too many of our fellow citizens barely eke out a living on their meagre earnings these days, if they are fortunate enough to have a job, that is. In the latest LMD TNS Lanka poll, an overwhelming majority agree that the prices of essential food items have now reached crisis proportions. In fact, more than 95% of respondents observe that the cost of living is skyrocketing, about the only change that remains constant. This, of course, is while salaries are becoming increasingly inadequate to meet basic needs. 8 out of 10 of those polled blame the government for the present situation. They point to the incumbent administration's penchant for extravagant spending, with the state's budget airline, among other white elephants, being singled out by many respondents as unnecessary and expensive. Respondents also say that a lack of proper economic management and suitable policies contribute to aggravating the issue. In the meantime, 7 out of 10 respondents say that the domestic market is affected by supply and demand factors overseas, and they acknowledge that high oil prices have had an impact on markets everywhere. Nearly 80% recommend that the government introduce further subsidies on essential food items. This majority notes that many of the country's citizens are poor and most people are finding it difficult to make ends meet. So, how should Sri Lanka strive to contain the crisis? The respondents to the monthly island-wide poll believe that people should be encouraged to take up agriculture and be educated about alternative cultivation methods. They urge that more research and development into seed paddy and other high-yield grain should be delved into. And the state should consider subsidizing private sector entities that are willing to develop agriculture-based products. Some respondents even suggest that the business community should support agriculture-related self-employment in rural areas. They maintain that the private sector should invest in research and development of high-yield food products. Some of those polled also suggest that the import of food products with high nutritious value should be made available in the local market at affordable prices. Food for thought? While you're chewing the fat, we'll take a quick commercial break and return to what's appetizing city tourists these days.
Reveal your hidden fortune with Sri Lanka's largest prize draw. HMB Pathumbi winner 2008. Win a brand new Mitsubishi Montero in the year-end grand draw.
If you're looking for a leasing company to make your wheels go round, with fast, friendly and hassle-free service, together with flexibility and the best interest rates in town, let us show you how we can make your world go round. People Charles Leasing Company. We're the #1 in leasing because pleasing people is our #1 priority.
When the need to care comes from within, and the need to nurture comes naturally, reach out with a helping hand, cause the more to protect is not far behind. You know you're in good hands.
With a passion for life, Union Insurance, we will take care of you for life.
When the going gets tough, the tough get going. And as far as city tourism goes, this often merely means that the hotels band together as an association and slap a minimum room rate on each other, with undercutting becoming par for the course soon enough. In the spotlight this week is entrepreneur Nahil Vijay Surya, whose hotel services company recently bought over the Ceylon Continental. In an exclusive interview that I conducted with him not too long ago, we discussed the background to the buyover and the ramifications for other properties in Colombo. Here are excerpts. So Nahil, what actually prompted you to take an interest in Continental Hotel initially?
Actually, it was the real estate value which had gone up so much that no one had noticed it, because we have something like 700 purchase of land there, and the last transaction done in the fort area was at 6 odd million rupees a purchase. That puts the value to the land value alone to about 4.2 billion rupees, and when you add a reconditioned or refurbished hotel into it, 250 rooms with banqueting areas and all that, the real value was about 80 billion. That's good from a real estate point, but not necessarily as a hotel value, because the return on hotels is not like something that will sustain a value of 80 billion.
So this was really a real estate deal and nothing to do with the hotel concept per se?
No, and also the things are changing, and we saw so many people from USA and Europe going into India for the hoteling business.
But at this particular location is not exactly very conducive at this present time.
Yeah.
Tourists.
Yeah, but as things are and things changing up north, it looks very likely that this thing will be solved very, very soon.
Why do you feel that your hotel should be exempt from the minimum room rate?
Because no two hotels are the same. We have our own peculiar disadvantages and advantages. Disadvantages being the access, because every VIP that goes to the president's house has got to pass our place, and we have interruptions to our access. But on the other hand, we are without any debt. Now, like Hilton, which is having $100 million debt, no accounts for the last 5 years. It's one unique situation. Garadari is another unique situation. Renuka Hotels is another unique situation. I mean, that's really a funny unique situation, because I don't think they are in the hotel business. Their income from share trading, it's public quoted company, it's available, is 450 million rupees, whereas their hotel income is only 70 million. So now we can't paint all these guys with the same brush and say, okay, your rates got to be so and so. We have to decide with our advantages and disadvantages how we are going to fix our maximum prices and minimum prices, and to run a hotel the way the management thinks it should be run. And we can't have an association coming and telling us, come on, let's get together and have a minimum rate. Cartels don't work.
And what response have you received to date from the Ministry of Tourism?
Actually, it was not imposed by the minister or the ministry. It was something voluntarily done by the hoteliers. I think there are a few guys who are driving it, and all the others just follow like sheep. But I was refusing to, of course the previous owners had agreed with all these things, but I have now decided to disagree with that and make our own pricing structures. Because it's so easy to make. The association itself kept on saying that there's flouting of these arrangements done by everybody, and complaints are coming every day. I said, so then why try to implement, carry out or even propose a thing that cannot be implemented? If you show one block trying to restrict something, I'll show you 100 ways of getting away. and that's getting more problems is the name of business.
You cited exceptional circumstances. What are those?
The access to the place was the only thing where more than 50% of our income is from banqueting, not from room rates. So we have company get-togethers, company meetings, weddings. That accounts for more than 60% of our business. So with the closure of things and someone has a knack at time and then suddenly leave the road block, the person can't enter at the right time because that's the time that the bride or the groom has got to arrive at a certain time into the premises. So all those things get disrupted.
We'll be back with more of the big picture of city tourism. That's when Benchmark returns after this break.
If you're looking for a leasing company to make your wheels go round, with fast, friendly and hassle-free service, together with flexibility and the best interest rates in town, let us show you how we can make your world go round. People's Leasing Company. We're the #1 in leasing because pleasing people is our #1 priority.
When the need to care comes from the day, and the need to nurture comes naturally, which I live with helping hand, comes the all to protect us, not far behind. You know you're a good hand.
With a passion for life, you insurance, we will take care of you for life.
Reveal your hidden fortune with Sri Lanka's largest prize draw. HMB Pathumvimana 2008. Win a brand new Mitsubishi Montero in the year-end grand draw.
Dies ist meine Vision.
This is my future.
这是我的突破。
Questa è la mia reputazione.
Dit is mijn verantwoordelijkheid.
At TNT, we understand how important your shipment is to you.
C'est ma carrière.
TNT, it's our business to deliver yours.
We're back on Benchmark and it's city tourism in the spotlight. Before we left you, Nahira Vijayasuriya, the chairman of Hotel Services, which recently acquired the Ceylon Continental, was talking to me about what more can and must be done to make travellers visit, enjoy and return to our commercial capital. We pick up that trend of thought with a retrospective of sorts for city hotels. What factors would you attribute to the poor occupancy rates that have been experienced by the city hotels this year?
The rates have come down very slightly, but not anything to be worried about, because the beginning of the year is slow anyway compared to the second half of December. And worldwide anyway, things have slowed down terribly in terms of people traveling, which finally would end up in hotel rates. Now for instance, Singapore Airlines have had 5 straight months of reduction in their turnover from the beginning of this year. Where worldwide things are slowing down. People are traveling less. Suddenly they are traveling less. There are less people to come there staying in hotels.
So we are just experiencing that kind of a curve.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with terrorism or the threats of instability.
It's been going on for how long? There's nothing new here.
How, if at all, did the recent SAARC summit actually help the cause, or maybe not in that sense?
Our image definitely has had better exposure with the SAARC, and the fact that it went off peacefully. without any problems. Again, should have some effect hopefully on travel advisories or the travel warnings that these embassies give to their people. And in a funny way, our bit of terrorism is unique, because now if you look at the US travel warnings, that website, there are 30 countries listed, and all of them have something about US citizens or the foreigners being targeted. But we have a unique situation where not a single foreigner has died in the 20 years of terrorism that we've had. In fact, these guys, I believe, specifically make sure that foreigners are not involved as casualties, because if it gets involved, then they are fundraising in those countries, and there are guys who have gone there as refugees, their lives get difficult. So in fact, we are unique in that these folks will make sure that foreigners are not affected. So we should leverage that and tell these travel warning guys, hey Mr. you are in a different situation, you are lucky. So maybe that's what our tourism ministry or someone should sort of leverage and get some headway for us.
Will the resolutions vis-à-vis terrorism taken by the regional SAARC group actually help boost tourist confidence?
Yeah, surely it must, because if India itself says that we are against terrorism, okay, there are guys who started this nonsense many years ago. So if they are now saying, hey, we are good guys, and maybe they are cooperating with us, because there are so many guys have been arrested in South India in the last few weeks. Maybe they are taking this anti-terrorism thing seriously.
What other measures do you feel that local authorities can take to streamline security in and around the hotel strip?
Streamlining, meaning free to be more friendly, less inconvenient.
To ensure better security, but at the same time allow people more access, more freedom to go about.
Right now, people our security is based on protecting the VIPs, not protecting a hotel or anything else. So in that situation, they have, say, to protect the presidential area, they have what's called the outer ring, the inner ring, and stuff like that. So the high security zone starts at the Golf Face roundabout, and I think the high security entering the high security zone necessarily means that you have to be given 100% search. Everyone's got to be stopped. There's no case of waving anyone off. So that 100% search can cause delays. So right now they have about 4 people checking the cars in 4 different points in a row. Now during the peak times, I think if they extend it to say 10 or 12 such positions, the passage of these cars and the checks would be faster. And also the high security zone is at Golf Face. Now then the next one would be next possible stop would be at the Garadari roundabout, and in between that's only a Golf Face. So maybe they can push it up to that.
Because right now all the hotels are affected in that strip, given the amount of security, and no guest wants to come in and be searched so extensively.
No, see, if the event is important enough, people will come. If you have a good event, and it's up to us to create the events in the hotels, and they will come, and that's what we are aiming at. Checks are a part and parcel of our life here, so we have to provide the events. That's one of our strategies to increase the volumes.
In terms of PR and image building, what steps do you feel stakeholders must take, in particular city hotels and maybe tourism in general, to actually attract the right profile of tourists? And what more do you think we need to do to make give Colombo a buzz?
The question that we should ask ourselves is, why should anyone come to Sri Lanka, and why should anyone come to Colombo and stay in our hotel? Okay, visiting these historic places and stuff like that, okay, I don't think there'll be any repeats of that. Someone might come once to Anuradhapura or Sigiri and then not go the second time. We have to provide entertainment. And of course the entertainment capitals are, well, Singapore has quite a bit of entertainment. There's Thailand, there's Philippines, so there's enough of places for people to You can have a good time. 2 days ago, there were 2 German business persons who came and stayed in our hotel, and friends of mine. I said, Nihal, nightlife, I could only think of, and that was about 9 o'clock in the evening. So I said, go to this casino, and dropped them at one of these Kolpiti casinos. They're back in the hotel in half an hour. I mean, that's the only nightlife I could think of. So actually, you can put it at 0.
So we at present, what do you think we can do to make our city a little more attractive? Like you said, every other...
Yeah, so we have to get a little less pious, you know, and have opening hours for clubs and everything is extended to, I think it's 11 o'clock or something that we have to stop now. I don't know.
To create a buzz, what do we do now? Golf Fest would have been the ideal place to have lots of things happening, public places.
Events is what makes that Singapore thrives on special events being made, and that feels so good. That's what we also have to do.
Who do you think should drive it?
I think we have the private sector has got to do it, and just to hope like here that the government doesn't oppose you, because at every turn somebody will come with an idea of, you know, this is the Buddhist way of doing things or something like that, and then I think that it's got to be driven by the private sector. You can't expect the government, I mean, they are ministers or anyone else to drive things like this.
Well, as they said in that classic movie, we'll always have Hikkadua. Did you go? See you after these messages from our sponsors.
When the need to care comes from the day, and the need to nurture comes naturally, which I live a helping hand, comes the all to protect it, not far behind. You know you're a good hand.
With a passion for life, Human Insurance, we will take care of you for life.
Reveal your hidden fortune with Sri Lanka's largest prize draw. HNB Pathumvimana 2008. Win a brand new Mitsubishi Montero in the year-end grand draw.
If you're looking for a leasing company to make your wheels go round, with fast, friendly and hassle-free service, together with flexibility and the best interest rates in town, let us show you how we can make your world go round. People's Leasing Company. We're the #1 in leasing because pleasing people is our #1 priority.
Welcome back to the show. The stock markets in developed economies are often a barometer of not only the state of the economy but even the nation. And Sri Lanka, despite the limited nature of the equities traded on its main bourse, may be no exception. A recent analysis noted that an increasing number of stocks are losing ground steadily on thin volumes. It was also observed that of late, the market is becalmed more often than not, with new investors shying away for now. This week, we asked the Voice of Business what sensitivities, beyond the obvious, are affecting the bourse and whether the bears will continue to dominate the market. Murtaza Jafferji, the CEO of JB Securities, laments that soaring inflation and high interest rates are definite dampers, discouraging investors who would otherwise see share trading as a viable option. He observes that the present macro milieu affects the profitability of companies which are unable to pass on their inflationary cost increases to customers. This adds pressure on bottom lines and generates more instability. Jaffergy notes that despite this, recent turnover levels on the Colombo Stock Exchange, or CSE, have been impressive due to a few substantial transactions. He commends the market for better representation of economic activity relative to 5 years ago, and adds that in general terms, the stock market is the leading indicator of the economy's future direction. Thrissur Diarvis, the Managing Director of the Lanka Market Research Bureau, agrees that despite current macroeconomic conditions, the stock market has not been too adversely affected. He says that big buyers are picking up some counters in bulk, positing this as a reason why indices on the bourse are not reflecting drastic negative trends at present. But Diarvis sees alarming trends in the economy which are not reflected on the bourse. He emphasizes that the stock market, on the contrary, is propped up by what he calls extraordinary purchases and business happenings. Deva Ellapala, the General Manager and CEO of HNB Stockbrokers, asserts that the apparel and agriculture sectors are the main contributors to the economy. Traditionally, these have had significant representation on the Colombo bourse, he says, underlining their absence and its impact on both major indices. He identifies certain factors that have had a bearing on the stock market, such as the interest rate regime, as having had an impact on the economy as well. Comparing the present financial year to that of 2007, Ellapala commends the bourse on its sterling performance, despite challenging times and conditions. Sriyan Gurusingha, Director and General Manager of Selingco Stockbrokers, highlights in a positive manner the recent actions taken by the CSE to entertain new sentiment systems to minimize the risks taken by investors. He notes that investors are always on the lookout for counters that would add value to their investments, and they haven't written off our market entirely, he affirms. Gurusingha suggests that the market is still doing reasonably well in the context of the country's situation. This phenomenon he attributes to certain strategic investors and their investments from time to time. In an economy where most sectors are struggling to stay afloat, there are still companies that are performing very well indeed despite adverse economic conditions. Therefore, the state of the stock exchange reflects the state of the economy only to a certain extent, he says. Nihal Fonseca, the chairman of the Colombo Stock Exchange, points out that many of the world's stock markets have been experiencing pressure and volatility during the last 12 months or so. Therefore, it is no surprise that this period has been a challenging time for the CSE as well, he says. The CSE chief identifies the downturn in turnover levels to be partly due to investors preferring fixed income securities. There is also the fact that our bourse does not have the requisite instruments to attract investors during a market recession. Says Fonseca, quote, "Even though the bourse is an indicator of the state of the economy, I don't think the correlation is as strong as it is in some other countries, especially as many key economic sectors are not represented on our exchange," unquote. So how long do you think the bears will bully the bourse? And when will those bulls, so beloved by buyers and brokers alike, return? Send us your thoughts, that's to benchmark@lnd.lk, or fax in your feedback on the show to the number now showing on your screen. That's it for this week. With the Olympics now running its course, I'm sure for those of you interested, it will be an exciting week ahead. See you on Benchmark next time.